My name is Richard Cree, and this is Interstorm Games Presents. Thanks for tuning in. If you're just tuning in for the first time, this is our second series, and we're doing gameplay of Conquest of Planet Earth by Flying Frog Productions. Last episode, we went through the rules, so if you haven't seen that yet, you definitely want to go back and check it out. I'll help you a lot as we go through. I will explain some of the rules as we go through the gameplay. Aside from that, there's not much else to explain. There are a few clarifications, some things I missed in the rules before. We'll go ahead and make mention of those as we go through the gameplay here. But with nothing else holding us back, let's just jump right into it. So before we get started, let's take a look at the board layout. I've got things set up already. Over here we have everything alien related. We have the alien event deck, the space step cards, the alien race sheet. We're playing the Fishermen of Atlarak. I've got the red dice we're going to use for the aliens. We have our one alien menace token. I put the D6 counter out to remind us that we'll be using D6 rolls. In the cooperative game, you always roll a D6 instead of using the command counters, so I just went ahead and put the D6 out to remind everybody that we will be rolling a D6 to see how many actions we can take each turn. And I've also already drawn a hand of 4 event cards to start the game with. We have an intelligence of 4 as the fisherman, and so allows us to draw 4 cards to start the game. On this other side we have the resistance. I've got the resistance phase tracker with the human tech track. We're starting at 0. This is the resistance event deck. We've already separated out the cards with the red bottoms to them, and so we'll be using those red text fields whenever we draw a human resistant event. We have the resistance cards we'll be drawing here when we have to engage in a battle or a fight. We have our location cards that we'll be drawing once we move into areas, and we need to draw a location card. And finally down here we have the human tech advancement cards that hopefully we won't see any show up, but it's possible. Those could come up as we roll along the human tech track. Also, you notice there are a couple of counters on the board, the main board. We have, this is our home board, this is the one we'll be using. We have our 4 alien ships up there. I normally use green, but we'll be using blue because I think it'll show up better on the green background of the board. Also, in the cooperative game, we place random resistance counters on the board. I went ahead and rolled for those. Our first one ended up being fighter planes at strength 6. They ended up in the 6 area on the board. And then in the objective board, we're playing with the capital city. So I've already put that out, and also I placed 2 random counters. The first one came out to be a strength 3 infantry, and the second was strength 5 tanks. Alright, so that's the board set up. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. We'll start out by rolling a d6 to see how many action points we have for our first turn. Oops, let's try and keep it on the board. 1. Alright, well this is not bad because that actually gets us an extra alien menace token. We'll take that right now and we can re-roll. Now what we don't want to do now is we don't want to roll another 1, because if we do not get another alien menace token and we still have to keep that 1. 4. That's not too bad to start out with. Alright, so we have 4 actions. So we actually have an event card here that will allow us to... Actually, before we get into that, let's just run down everything that we can do with our actions. If you haven't seen the rules video, you can go back and watch that, but for now, I'll just run through. As aliens, we have action points we can spend on moving our alien spaceships into different areas. That's 1 action point each. If we have an alien spaceship that's been destroyed, we can spend 1 to bring it back on the board. We can spend 2 alien menace points just to straight up purchase another alien menace token, and we need those alien menace tokens to pull off our special ability, which is release on the land squid. We need 2 of those, and now we have 2, so that's actually, we might be using that fairly soon. And then we can also use action points to play an event card, which we do have 1, the Gear Up card, that we can spend 1 action point and draw a Space Stuff card. So I think we'll do that. I think we'll move 3 spaceships for 3 action points, use our 4th one to draw a Space Stuff card. So let's move 2 spaceships here, move a 3rd one here, and then we'll spend our last action point on the Gear Up, and we'll draw a Space Stuff card. And I'll place that right here. Our Space Stuff card is a Ravager Thought Probe. It says discard at any time to look at another player's hand or event cards and choose one of them to instantly discard. Or discard at any time to immediately gain 2 alien menace tokens or to win a fight on a tie result. Well, that's pretty good. Probably be using that to win on a tie result. Actually, we have battle prowess. We always win on a tie, so we don't need that. We might be able to use that to either get the alien menace tokens. We don't need to look at another player's hand of event cards because there is no other player to look at. So we might use that later on in the game to get those alien menace tokens. But just hold on to it for right now. And let's move on to the next phase. That was the action phase. So now let's look at the battle phase. So for the battle phase, we have 2 areas that have alien spaceships in them that do not have location cards. The first thing we need to do is draw location cards for those areas. The first, we have a military base. It has a population of 1, so that'd be worth 1 terror point to us. We're going to have 3 fights. So it's a 3 resistance total. That means 3 separate fights we're going to have at that location. The last is just a mountain range, so no points, but no fights either. Alright. Well, we do have 3 fights we need to resolve in this battle. So let us go ahead and start. To initiate a fight, all we need to do is draw our resistance card. So we'll draw a resistance card. And we have a hero. These are army scientists. They're going to add additional +1 strength at any tech location. The tech is a location that has a little wrench. We have a star and looks like a radio signal or something going out from there. So that's not a tech location, so that's good. But however, we did draw a hero, and if you remember from the rules, whenever we draw a hero, we don't fight that hero. We still have to fight the resistance. That hero is just going to lend this bonus to the resistance. So let's draw again from the resistance deck. Alright, we have the U.S. Army Infantry, and they're at strength 3. We have the Army Scientists here with a strength 2, so they're the resistance is now at a 5. Let's check the location. There are no bonuses. Sometimes there's special instructions down here at the bottom that you have to resolve when you find a location. The military base does not have those. So the resistance has a strength of 5. We, the fishermen, each one of our spaceships has a strength of 3. So right now we have a combined strength of 6 at the military base. Alright, everything looks good. We're up by 1, so it's not quite a roll-off. But now we need to roll dice and add those dice totals to our individual strength scores. So as always, we'll roll red for the aliens and white for the resistance. We'll pick up the dice and roll them. Well, alright. Now this is interesting because both die rolls came up as a 6. And it's normally a 6 is a crushing victory, which means that one side would automatically win. Well, in this situation, both sides automatically win. And when both sides have a crushing victory, it is still considered a tie. And because we have battle prowess, we win a fight on a tie. So that means that we will win this one. That's great. So that's 1 fight down that we win. We'll discard these cards. We've crushed that piece of the resistance. But the military base does have a resistance value of 3. So we'll need to fight. Have 2 more fights here. So we'll draw again for our next fight. Our next fight is against the Duke, another hero. Alright, he rolls an extra fight dice and uses the highest. He's got strength +3. He's going to be supporting, oh my goodness, a war veteran. That's another hero with a strength times, oh my goodness, the veteran doubles the strength. So this is not looking good for the aliens here. And they're going to support U.S. Army Rangers. And they are also going to win on a tie result. Alright, since we have the ability that lets us win on a tie, and they have the ability that lets them win on a tie, if we look into our description further, it says that if both sides will win in the event of a tie, it simply reverts back to being a tie result, which is just a push. We'd have to fight another fight there, fight the same fight, to re-roll the dice. Alright, so what we have here is a strength 14 resistance. This is U.S. Army Rangers are a strength 4 with a +3 from the Duke. And he gets an extra dice to roll. And the war veteran is going to add a ×2 to that, so it's going to make it 14. I'm going to see if we have anything over here that might allow us to look at our Oversteer intervention. So it says it's played to allow any aliens in a fight to automatically win that fight, even against Captain Fantastic, even if it would have been a crushing victory. So I think, because they're at a 14 and we're only at a 6. So even rolled a, I mean, you have to roll a crushing victory. So let's do that. Let's see if we can get a crushing victory against them, and then if we don't, we'll play this Oversteer intervention. So let's roll the dice. Oh my gosh, look at that. We did. We rolled a 6. So they're 3. That gives them a total of 17. They're 14. Oh, we forgot to roll an extra dice for the Duke. And use the highest. So they actually will still use that 3. Roll a 2 on the second one. It says that he rolls an extra fight die and uses the highest. So that was, we'll use a 3 for that fight dice. But again, we roll a 6. So that gives us a crushing victory. So we actually beat all these resistance cards, the Army Rangers and the Duke. That's greatness. So that means we'll have 1 fight left. So let's draw more cards. There's Army Scientists. They have a strength +2. And they're going to add an additional +1 at a tech location, which again, this is not a tech location. And they're supporting another hero, the small town sheriff. And he adds an additional +1 for the town location. Let's double check here. I don't believe this is the town. Nope, it's not a town location. So let's keep drawing until we find the resistance. Here we go. This is going to be, let's see if I can get all these cards here so you guys can see them. So we have small town sheriff. And it's going to add an additional +1 strength at any town location. That's a +2. We have a +2 from our military scientist. And our strength 2 U.S. Army paratroopers. It says when they're drawn, we also need to place a paratrooper resistance counter in one other random space on this board section. So we need to find some paratroopers over here in our. You can't see them, but there is a pile of resistance counters off the screen that I'm looking through right now. So I found some paratroopers. We're going to place them into a random section on this board. Hopefully we don't roll a 2. Otherwise I'll add us. We rolled a 6. So they're actually going to be down here with those fighter planes. Alright, so let's look at what we have here. We have a total of strength 2, +2 from the small town sheriff, and +2 from the army scientist for a total of 6 against our 6. So we do have a roll off here. And also we need to keep in mind that these US paratroopers, they're deadly. So on a roll of 5 or 6, they'll get a crushing victory. So let's roll the dice and see what happens. Hopefully they won't roll a 5 or 6, and hopefully we'll roll higher than them. And that's what happened. They rolled a 1. That gives them a total of 7, and re-rolled a 4, giving us a total of 10. So 10 to 7, once again we win. So we'll take off those resistance cards. And that's 3 fights fought at this location. You're victorious each time, and that means we get to place 1 conquest token in that location. Alright. Over here, there's a resistance value of 0. No battle will be fought here. And in our landing location, there are no counters to fight. So that's it for the battle phase. So next we'll move on to our draw phase. Our draw phase, we spent 1 of our event cards, leaving us with 3. So then we also have the choice, we can discard 1 of these cards that we have, or we can, oh wait, you know what? Let's back up just a second, because we have the Spoils of Conquest card right here. Spoils of Conquest. It says that play immediately when your aliens win a fight to draw a space stuff card. So let's use that now. We'll draw a space stuff card, and this is the Warlord Kazbak. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. That he can, as a strength 5, he's an ally. He's going to add a +5 or +1 strength 5, +1 strength for each enemy hero currently in the fight. So that's pretty good. But because he's an ally, we're going to get to go and put his ally token on the board. The warlord is going to act just like one of our spaceships. We'll put his ship right there, and we'll put him. Let's see. Let's put our alien menace tokens onto our board here, and we'll move our space stuff cards around just a bit. Alright, so he actually is going to have a strength 5 on his own when he works with. He'll combine that with whatever else. He's going to act just like a spaceship for all intents and purposes beyond that. So now we have 2 cards we can draw. I don't think I want to discard either of these because those are actually good cards. Contagion can let us wipe out some of the resistance. We almost chose that when we had this big, the Army Rangers and the Duke and the War Veteran over here. But this is actually one you can do to eliminate some of the resistance and knock their strength down. So I think we're going to hold on to both of those. We'll draw 2 new event cards. So our first one is Battle Frenzy, and it will allow us to force the aliens or resistance to re-roll any fight dice they just rolled. That could be good if you ever roll a 1 on a fight dice. And our next one is Endless Waves. This is one we can actually spend action points on. It says at the start of each action phase, return all destroyed aliens to our landing site for free. So it cost us 3 points to do that. And it remains in play. Oh, that's good. So it remains in play. So once we do that, we'll be able to do that for the rest of the game. So we pay a bit up front, but we'll be able to return our alien spaceships back for free. And that's what we may want to look at next turn, depending on how things go. So far, we're doing pretty good. We've got 1 point. We need 8, so we need 7 more. That's the draw phase. We just finished that, and that will take us to, that ends the alien's turn, actually. That's going to be the end of the alien's turn. It's going to take us to the resistance phase. So over in the resistance phase, we have 6 steps we need to follow. The first is to draw a resistance event card. So from their deck, we'll draw one, and we only read the red text here at the bottom. And for this one, it says the human tech track immediately moves 1 step forward, and each player must immediately choose one of their aliens to be destroyed. Well, that's not really how I wanted to start that. And so we're actually going to move this up 1 space. And anytime the resistance or the human tech track marker moves onto a field with a red circle, we're going to place a resistance counter on the board at random. So I'm going to randomly draw one. We don't know what it is yet. We'll roll to see where it goes. Now I believe this is on each board section as well. So we'll place this first one on our home section here. It's going to be a 2. Oh, wonderful. All right. And they're strength 7 jet fighters. Wow, that was some bad luck there. Let's see. This is actually not too bad right now because we only do the fighting during the battle phase. And so the jet fighters have a move ability, so they might actually move away from this military base before we need to fight them. Let's go ahead and roll for the placement on this other board, on our objective board. We're going to place a random one in the 6th location, which is down here. It's going to be infantry. We have some infantry down here. So things looking pretty good here. This is where I'm a little worried. But right now we need to check for location liberation. So what can happen is, especially here, if we had a chance to move our spaceships away and these fighters came in, they could have liberated this location because we had conquered it. However, we still have spaceships here, so they will not be able to liberate the location away from us. So we still have our 1 point. And that takes us to move the human tech track marker. Well, we just had to move it because of the event card. So, you know what? Speaking of that event card, we did not destroy one of our alien ships. Going back, let's destroy this one of the mountain range right here. We'll destroy that alien ship. And coming back to human tech tracker, we did move it to 2. The 2 is not a red circle, so we don't need to place any more tokens there. Well, that's just bouncing around all over the place, isn't it? Alright. That brings us to resistance move. So if a resistance counter has the move ability, such as the fighter planes and the jet fighters, they're going to move to a new location. Possibly. So let's roll the dice. First we'll roll for the fighter planes. And they're actually going to stay right where they're at. And the jet fighters will move to 4. Actually, they're going to fly over this way. Well, that will help us to some degree. And the tanks and the infantry do not have the movability, so they will stay where they are, as well as the paratroopers. Alright, that takes us to resistance barrage. None of the current resistance counters on the board have the barrage ability at this time. Which finally brings us to roll for a tech breakthrough. So we're going to roll 2 dice for the resistance. And if either one of those dice comes up as a 6, the resistance will get to draw a human tech card. And neither one did, so that's good for us. And that brings us, that was step 6, that brings us to the end of the resistance phase and the end of the first turn. Alright, well, a lot happened there. It looks like we're pretty good. We have a point. We've got we're making some progress. The resistance is starting to build up around us, though, but we have captured an ally. We've gained an ally. We didn't capture him. He came to us free, of his own free will. And we've lost 1 spaceship. We can probably bring him on next turn. So let's go ahead and wrap things up here. We've completed 1 turn. I will roll the dice to see how many actions that we're going to get next turn. And then based on that, I'll show you what we have available, and I will let you guys decide what we should do next. How should we spend those actions? Where should we move to, if we're going to move at all? And again, we have 4 action points to spend. So bearing that in mind, we have 4 action points. I'll zoom in. I'll show you exactly what we have as far as event cards and our space stuff cards, and we'll look at the, actually that human event card is done. We don't need to keep that in play, so we'll just discard that. And you can look at the board and we'll see where we want to go, what we want to do next, and just again, post your comments down in the YouTube comment section below this video. I will review them, and whoever has the most popular suggestion, that's the one we'll use. For now though, thanks for watching, thanks for your support. I appreciate everyone who's followed through this since we started, and for those of you who are new and just stepping on now to watch us play Conquest of Planet Earth, I definitely want to send a big thanks out to the folks at Flying Frog Productions for helping us out with all my questions, allowing us to use their music in this YouTube video. As far as Interstorm Games is concerned, you can go like us on Facebook at facebook.com/InterstormGames. You can follow us on Twitter at Interstorm Games. And go check out our website. We'll put updates on there on how the game is progressing. I'll also put the pictures and close-ups of the board there as well. So if you don't want to like fast forward to the end of the video just to see that, you can go to the website and view them there. And then we'll give it a couple of days, see what response we get, and then we'll go with the next turn. So again, thank you to everybody, and we'll hope to see you here next time.